In the war in Iran, Iran's parliament speaker writing on X that the country is not looking for a ceasefire, instead sending threats to President Trump, saying, quote, "We believe that the aggressor should be punched in the mouth so that he learns a lesson, so that he will never think of attacking our beloved Iran again." That message comes as Iran applies more pressure on its Arab neighbors, this morning launching another wave of attacks against Gulf countries. Defense Secretary Hegseth saying this morning that today would be the most intense day of strikes in Iran thus far. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is Mr. Harley Lippman, foreign policy expert back here on the Live Zone. Harley, always good to see you, sir. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
So I'm curious. We'll start with the rhetoric that we heard the parliament speaker state earlier, and that is, we believe the aggressor should be punched in the mouth. Well, that aggressor in his case happens to be President Trump. Your response?
Well, I think it says everything. It really demonstrates what we need to pay attention to, which is that Iran has been at war with America for the last 47 years, starting with the taking of American hostages at the American embassy in Iran in 1979. It hasn't stopped since then. They've killed thousands of Americans. They've blown up the American embassy in Beirut in the 1980s, the American Marine barracks back then, and they bled us in Afghanistan. They bled us in Iraq. They armed and trained our enemies in those two countries when we fought wars there. And they say death to America every day. What's unclear about that? They want to destroy America.
And so with that being said, Harley, a lot of folks are asking, is this really Israel's war?
I think Israel gave America an opportunity to take out an existential threat to the United States. It's arrogance for us to think we know better what our enemy means than their own words. They've been obsessed with trying to destroy America for the last 47 years. There is no precedent to that. There is no country in American history that has been more obsessed with destroying the United States than Iran. And that's the reason why we're in this war. America is fortunate to have what the Pentagon called a model ally, Israel. And the combination of the two best air forces in the world have been a force multiplier that has enabled the United States and Israel to apply extraordinary coordination, intelligence, and effectiveness in downgrading Iran's military dramatically.
So, Harley, obviously, we have seen oil prices here in America skyrocket. However, they fell sharply yesterday after President Trump said the war with Iran would be over very soon, though they remain shaky and well above their levels before the conflict started. A lot of Americans now asking, hey, are we going to get hit in the pocket at the gas pump?
Well, whatever challenges we may have at the gas pump are temporary. A small price to pay to prevent a much bigger catastrophic world war. What Americans need to be aware of is, what is this war really about? It's about our confrontation with China. China has replaced all the software in Iran's military with Chinese software. Iran replaced their GPS with Chinese GPS. China has been arming Iran. They do joint military exercises, joint naval maneuvers in the Strait of Hormuz. They have been building up Iran so it's a second front against the United States to divert American military forces from Taiwan, which America would probably go to defend in the event of a war with China. So this is Trump's strategic play against China, and it is a brilliant strategy. I only wish the president would have taken the time to explain this to the American people so they understand why we're fighting this war.
Yeah, obviously a war that many want to bring to an end. Not only that, but we also know that, well, Iran firing missiles at random. I'm hoping you could speak to what it is the mindset of a person that lives within that firing range is dealing with on a daily basis.
It's horrible that missiles are raining down on innocent people in the Gulf countries and Israel. But interestingly, this speaks to the unintended consequences of all wars. This has united Arab nations with Israel. This is extraordinary. You have Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates working and coordinating and integrating with Israel to defend each other. So the unintended consequences of Iran firing missiles at hotels and restaurants. They fired a missile in Jerusalem that nearly missed the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is a holy site to Muslims. So Iran is acting in a desperate way, but it is uniting Arabs and Israelis, and it's one of the good outcomes of a tragic development in that part of the world.
And then there happens to be the new supreme leader. We know that he is the son of the last supreme leader. We also know that, well, quite honestly, President Trump did not give his thumbs up and or approval. The next question is, what happens now?
Well, he's worse than his father. He's more of a hawk. And keep in mind, there have been 66,000 Islamic terrorist attacks in the world since 1979. 66,000 emanating from Iran. So a third reason for this conflict is this is the world center of terrorism, Iran. So I hope President Trump stays the course and shows strategic courage, which he's been showing so far, to defeat an enemy which is bent on destroying the United States and trying to bring us into a world war. So I know everybody is afraid of what's going on, worried about oil prices, but it is actually a small price to pay, because if we succeed in Iran, it will prevent a much wider war, because China gets its oil from Iran and Venezuela, and it'll be very hard for China to fight a war and take Taiwan, which is what they want to do. China's leader has told his military, be prepared for a war in 2027. Believe them. We have to be prepared. This is what's at stake here. And the American people, I think, really need to know this, so they support the president in this war.
Harley, we're going to have to leave it there. Yet again, Harley Lippman, foreign policy expert, kind enough to join us right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone.